What's wrong? What's happening?
Each ship is jumping into the space occupied by its neighbor. A chain reaction that will consume the entire fleet.
Stop it. Jump us to safety.
I cannot.
Then prepare a lifeboat for me.
The command sequence also disabled all of the landing bays and the launch tubes.
But your spacers will also die. It's suicide.
A small price to pay for my people's freedom.
On Ignis, Hari reveals how he survived the drowning. When 𝐄𝐩𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐸 had a feeling that Hari was dying, she telepathically connected with him, influencing one of the guards to unlock his shackles. After Hari killed the guard, and 𝐄𝐩𝐢𝐬𝐸𝐸 disguised his body as Hari's using mental illusion, she guided Hari all the way back to the Mentalics settlement through miles of dense forest. Meanwhile, the Mentalics arrive around the beggar and explain that they are now free, as 𝐤𝐿𝐴𝐴𝐻 had them under mind control ever since they arrived on Ignis. Bowing in reverence, the Mentalics praise Hari, 𝐄𝐩𝐢𝐬𝐸𝐸 and Salvor as their saviors. As 𝐿𝐴𝐴𝐻 arrives back on Trantor, she finds Dusk and Rue in the secret prison. Reflecting on her centuries of captivity, she struggles with a personal paradox. Although she secretly wishes for the Empire to fall, she is programmed to be faithful to it, making it hard to distinguish her true feelings. Coming clean, 𝐿𝐴𝐴𝐻 admits that she was the one who planned the assassination attempt on Day, but only as a means to scare him from marrying 𝐒𝐸𝐻. Instead, she decides to frame 𝐒𝐸𝐻 for the assassination, and seeing no way to spare them, 𝐿𝐴𝐻 kills Dusk and Rue. Aboard Bel's ship above Terminus, Day announces that they will continue to destroy all the planets that are faithful to the Foundation. When Bel refuses to commit more atrocities, Day insults him and takes over as captain of the ship, ordering the spacer navigator to jump to the next planet. Using a secret self-destructive jump sequence stored in Hober's wrist, the spacer engages the jump, slowly causing the entire Imperial fleet to destroy itself, betraying Day and the Empire. With no way to reverse the suicidal jump sequence, Day lashes out and begins fighting Hober. When Bel gets involved, the bloody brawl spills out from the bridge near an airlock chamber. After a brutal fight, Day traps Bel in the airlock and jettisons him into space, but Bel swaps places with him using Hober's castling device. Floating out into the great abyss, Brother Day dies in the freezing vacuum of space. With the jump sequence still in progress, Bel tells Hober and Constant that one of them can survive by escaping in a maintenance pod. Ultimately, Constant is chosen to survive, and she and Hober have one last tearful goodbye. With their duties done, Bel and Hober finally crack open the Locris wine and share a final toast as the ship explodes. Back on Trantor, Dawn witnesses 𝐒𝐸𝐻 being arrested for the assassination and deduces that 𝐿𝐴𝐴𝐻 is a traitor. In response, he rescues 𝐒𝐸𝐻 from her quarters, killing several guards as they flee. As 𝐿𝐴𝐻 is informed by other palace advisors about the destruction of the Imperial fleet and Day's death, she also learns that Dawn and 𝐒𝐸𝐻 have escaped. While two decoys make a public speech to the populace and announce the death of Brother Day, Dawn secretly contacts 𝐿𝐴𝐻 and vows to return one day to Trantor and reclaim his rightful throne. On Ignis, Salvor, 𝐿𝐴𝐻, and Hari relax with the Mentalics at camp. However, Josiah starts acting strangely, and still under the influence of 𝐿𝐴𝐻, he picks up a gun and takes aim at 𝐿𝐴𝐻. Rushing to protect 𝐿𝐴𝐻, Salvor disables Josiah and takes a bullet to the chest. Struggling to stay alive, Salvor optimistically points out that her death proves that the future can be changed, and she bleeds out in 𝐿𝐴𝐻's arms. That night, the Mentalics hold a cremation ceremony for Salvor, and 𝐿𝐴𝐻 watches on as her daughter is laid to rest. Meanwhile, Constant floats through space, and just as she's about to run out of oxygen, she encounters the Vault, seemingly unscathed. Landing inside the massive structure, she is greeted by Polly and Hari, who explain that the destruction of Terminus was always intended, and that the entire population has survived inside the Vault. Looking around, Constant is overjoyed as Director Seth, Glawen, and other familiar faces fill the sprawling room. Back on Trantor, 𝐿𝐴𝐻 decants 3 clones of Dawn, Day, and Dusk. After checking that they are functional, she informs them that they are part of an unprecedented moment in the Empire's history. and reveals the Prime Radiant. Activating it with a flourish, she explains that she doesn't fully understand the data yet, but that wonderful things await in the future. With Tellum defeated and Salvor in the grave, Hari and Gale discuss their options moving forward with the Mentalics. While Hari suggests that Gale goes into cryosleep and wait for her fight with the mule in 150 years, Gale argues that she and Hari should train the Mentalics for a year first, and Hari agrees. After preparations are complete, Gale and Hari go into cryosleep, while the Mentalics watch over them, guaranteeing their safety for decades to come. 152 years later, the mule sits in the dark, shaking in fear and madness, mumbling to himself. He claims that he has seen Gale in thousands of dreams, but he now feels her presence arriving in his time. As his eyes glow with power, he vows to find and destroy Gale, no matter the cost.